What's going on, pursuers? Welcome back to the Pursuit of Calling podcast. It's a podcast that helps you grow into who God has created you to become. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever gone through something so difficult that your first thought was, God, why is this happening to me? Maybe it was a difficult relationship, a financial setback, health issues, a season of burnout, disappointment you never saw coming. And I don't know anybody who wakes up in the morning and says, you know what I want today? God, can you just give me some pain? Can you just give me a painful experience? I'm gonna be honest. I think that's something I actually took from John Maxwell. He said that in a video I saw. Nobody wants pain. We avoid it. We pray against it. We try to escape it as quickly as possible. But when I look back over my life, something interesting stands out. Some of the seasons that shaped me the most were the seasons I never would have chosen myself. I definitely didn't choose a life of chronic pain. I didn't choose a life where a simple drive across town has to be planned around how my body's feeling that day. And looking back now, I realize the hardest seasons of my life weren't just painful. They were revealing something in me. Even the physical pain I have now, even though it does limit me, it reveals how much of my identity was tied to what I could do instead of who God says that I am. So today we're talking about the law of pain from John Maxwell's 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. And if you're walking through a difficult season right now, I think this conversation might completely change the way you look at your pain. One of the most powerful ideas from this chapter is this: every pain introduces us to ourselves. Think about that for a second. You don't really know who you are when everything is going well. When life is comfortable, it's easy to believe you're patient. It's easy to believe you're trusting God. It's easy to believe you're humble. But then life gets hard. And suddenly you discover what's actually inside of you. Pain exposes things. It brings things to light. It exposes fear, exposes pride, exposes insecurities that you have, and it exposes the places where you've been trying to control everything yourself. Sometimes we think pain is the problem, but often pain is just the flashlight. It's a magnifying glass, and that's one of the most powerful questions we can ask ourselves during a difficult season. That question is not, why is this happening to me? It's, what is this situation teaching me? And if that's hitting home right now, pause for a second and ask yourself, what has the hardest season of my life revealed about me? And if you're watching on YouTube, drop it in the comments. I'd genuinely love to hear your answers. I'm going to read all the comments and respond. Here's the reality, though. Everyone has bad experiences. Nobody likes them, but not everyone grows from them. That's the difference. Pain is universal. Growth is optional. Growth is a choice. John Maxwell shares a quote in this chapter that I absolutely love. It says, success in life comes not from holding a good hand, but from playing a poor hand well. Think about that. Most people spend their lives wishing they had a different hand. Different circumstances, different parents, different opportunities, different challenges. Let's be real, no challenges. But growth happens when you stop asking, why did this happen? Why is this happening to me, God? And start asking, how can I respond to this well? Because you don't control every experience. But you do control your response. And often that's where your growth is hiding. And if you're getting value from this episode so far, just take 2 seconds and hit subscribe. It helps more people discover the show, and it lets me know that these conversations are helping. Before we keep going, I want to speak directly to the guy who's listening and thinking, honestly, Thomas, I'm in one of those seasons right now. Maybe you're stuck. Maybe you're frustrated. And maybe you're trying to figure out what God is calling you into next. That's exactly why I created the Pursuer Circle. It's an intentional small group coaching experience for Christian men who want clarity, growth, accountability, and community. Come on. Because life isn't easy. It's hard. Let's be real. And growth happens faster when you're surrounded by people who are growing right alongside you intentionally. If that sounds like something you need right now, there's a link in the show notes where you can learn more and apply. That'll be circle.pursuitofcalling.com. Head over there and apply for your spot today. All right, let's keep going. One thing I love about this chapter is that John says, good management of bad experiences leads to great growth. Not bad experiences by themselves, not suffering by itself, not hardship by itself. The way we manage those, it's the way we manage those experiences, because pain doesn't automatically make us wiser. We've all met people who went through difficult things and became bitter. We've also met people who went through difficult things and became stronger. The difference wasn't the pain. It could be the same exact situation. The difference was what they did with it. And honestly, that's something I've been learning myself. My chronic pain, or I should say the chronic pain that I live with, let's not take ownership over it, it didn't automatically make me better. There were seasons where it made me frustrated. It made me angry, discouraged. This was the why me God. That was the why me God season. Why is this happening to me? Why are you doing this to me? There were seasons where I focused more on what I couldn't do than what I could do. But over time, I started asking different questions. Instead of, why is this happening? I started asking, what can this teach me? What is God trying to show me? What weaknesses is this exposing in me? What strengths is this developing within me? Because pain can either become a prison or it can become a classroom. And that choice matters. Another lesson from this chapter is that pain brings reality into our lives. Because life isn't always easy. Life isn't always fair. And honestly, maturity begins when we stop expecting life to be fair. Pain reminds us that we're human, that we're limited, that we're dependent on God more than we'd like to admit. And while that's uncomfortable, it's also incredibly freeing. Because once you stop pretending life should be easy, you can start focusing on how to navigate it well. Now, here's where I want to land the plane. Maybe you're listening today and you're in a season you wouldn't have chosen. A season you're praying God would remove you from. A season that is incredibly painful. It's frustrating, confusing. Maybe you're wondering why God hasn't fixed it yet. I understand that feeling. I didn't want to record an episode this week. I honestly wanted to quit. I wanted to throw in the towel. I've had a few setbacks in my business this last week. A few things that I haven't that really haven't gone according to plan. Everyone says building a new business is one of the hardest things a person can do, especially because most businesses fail. And you know what? It's exhausting. I don't know. I don't want to be struggling in the ways that I am. I have to be honest with you guys. But the only way for me to get out of this season is to learn from the mistakes and from the painful experiences that are both within and outside of my control. Learn from them, apply what I learn, and keep moving forward. That's the key to growth. That's the key to achieving the things that you're being called to achieve, achieving success in life. Have you ever been in a season where things weren't moving as fast as you wanted and you wondered if you should quit? Let me know in the comments. We're in this together, guys. Sometimes it feels like life keeps piling on the punches and you just want to throw in the towel. But here's the question I want you to wrestle with today. What if this season isn't pointless? What if God is using it? What if he's developing something in you right now that you, being comfortable, never could? Because some lessons can only be learned through hardship. Some wisdom only comes through suffering. And some versions of ourselves only can be discovered when everything comfortable gets stripped away. Pain isn't always punishment. Sometimes pain is preparation. Sometimes it's formation. Sometimes pain is the very thing God uses to shape us into who he created us to become. You know, in the book of Romans, chapter 5, Paul wrote, "We also glory in our sufferings because we know that suffering produces perseverance, perseverance, character, and character, hope." Isn't that great? Think about that progression. Suffering, perseverance, character, hope. God wastes nothing. Not even your pain. And maybe the season you're walking through isn't because God abandoned you. Maybe it's because he's still shaping you. This week, I want you to spend some time reflecting on 3 questions. One is, what pain am I currently trying to avoid? The second one is, what is this season revealing about me? And the third one is, what might God be trying to teach me through this painful experience? Don't rush past it. Sit with those questions. Journal about them, even if it's just a 5-minute journal session. Start with answering the questions and see what you can go from there. Pray through those questions. Pray for God to reveal to you what he's trying to teach you, because your greatest growth may be hiding inside the very season you're trying to escape. And if this episode encouraged you, share it with one person who needs to hear it. Maybe it's someone else in your life that's going through a hard season. And if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, leave a rating and a review. And if you're on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe. Smash that like button. It takes less than a minute, but it helps more people discover the show. And it's the free way for you to support. And if you're realizing that growth would happen faster with the right people around you, check out the Pursuer Circle at circle.pursuitofcalling.com. I'd love to walk alongside you. And until next time, keep pursuing who God created you to become. Keep pursuing your calling. Do it well. Peace.